Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew Reed. Today we're going to talk about a new feature added in version 9.4.100 of ProPricer, the Equipment and ODCs tab. This feature was developed so that you can define specific ODC and equipment expenses and then allocate their cost as a specific resource that is spread across the proposal. In this episode, we will be creating a line item in the Equipment and ODCs tab to calculate and allocate the expense for trace office expenses. To begin, let's access the proposal section of the navigation pane, then select the proposal we want to apply these expenses to. I'll select the Watchtower version 0 proposal. Now that we have selected a proposal, let's go to the proposal ribbon. In this tab, let's locate and select the Equipment/ODC button to open the tab in our workspace. The first step of creating an ODC and equipment allocation is entering the name of the expense in the groups grid below. I will name mine Office Expenses. Next, we need to move to the expenses grid to enter the names of each of our expenses along with their unit of measurement, quantity, and unit price. ProPricer will calculate the total for us. For this example, I will create 3 separate expenses: office supplies, printing/stationery, and then workstations. Now we need to define the unit of measurement, quantity, and unit price for each of these line items. Once that is finished, the next step is to fill out the allocation info grid below. First, we will choose which resource to allocate these costs to. I will select my ODC resource. Then, in the base level column here, we will now choose the cost level that ProPricer will use to begin calculating the allocation from. I will select hours only, but as you can see, I could select any of these cost levels here. Next, in the allocation method column, I can select month to month or month to total to determine how these expenses are spread. Month to month will spread the expenses proportionally in each month based on the proposal's existing monthly estimates. Month to total will spread the expenses evenly in each month of the proposal. For this example, I will be selecting month to month. In the allocation level column, I need to determine the type of cost that the expenses will be applied as. For example, I could allocate these expenses as direct cost, G&A, or any of these other input levels shown. I'm going to select direct cost. Finally, we will define the spread parameters and the period of performance. Let's use an even curve to spread the costs as evenly as possible. Now that we have finished creating our equipment and ODC allocation, let's take a look at our proposal to see how the costs have been applied. To do this, I'll open the Watchtower version 0 proposal in Task View. You will notice that there's a new tab in this view labeled Allocations. This is where we will find the allocated costs from the equipment and ODCs and their total value that has been applied to this task. Now that we have done the basics, I will show you how to apply equipment and ODC allocations to either specific tasks or based on specific resources using the selections feature. Let's go back to our equipment and ODCs tab. If we look down here in the allocation info grid, you can see that we have a column for task selection and resource selection. For this example, I will use the resource selection to spread this equipment and ODC allocation based on only my labor resources. I have already created a resource selection for only my labor resources, but let's take a closer look at how I made it. I will open up my edit window by clicking the button with the 3 dots in it here, so that we can see the selection criteria. I have based the selection on type with the condition of equals and the value of labor. I'll click OK and make sure that the selection is selected in my resource selection column. Now that the selection is in place, we will be able to see how the costs are applied differently on the proposal. In my proposal, I have 2 tasks, one that has labor resources and another that does not. If we select the task with the labor applied, we will see all the equipment and ODC costs have been allocated to this task alone. If we select the task without labor resources, we will see that none of these expenses are allocated. Let's review what we've covered today. We discussed the new Equipment and ODCs tab, then learned how to input expenses in an equipment and ODC allocation properly. We then viewed how these expenses are applied on a proposal. Lastly, we used the help of selections feature to spread the allocation based on a specific type of resource. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please share it with your colleagues who use ProPricer. If you have any other questions about ProPricer, please email us directly. Again, my name is Andrew Reed, and as always, thanks for watching.